Class A, high voltage, ultra live and direct.
Good morning. Good morning, friends watching us and friends listening to us. This is your creative journey, and I'm taking you on that journey with my beautiful assistant today. I should say guest. No way are you my assistant. We're partners in crime, Jill. Jill Healy-Quintard is with me today, and the theme for today's program is the art of healing through creativity. And there couldn't be a more perfect person to share this with me, Jill. What we will do is look at your amazing ability, and in fact it reflects all of our amazing ability to heal ourselves. And your passion now, correct me if I'm wrong, but the passion now is all about educating other people, helping other people to not injure themselves in the process of getting and or staying healthy.
Right.
And let's just look into that, Jill. What is it that makes this so important for you?
Oh, particularly because we live in a time that people are going beyond thinking about themselves so often every day, in fact, just going to work. So to forget about yourself and forget about health and forget about wellness is actually going to create injury. It's going to create sickness. And I think that's what's happening in this world at the moment, that we are creating sickness by the lack of looking after ourselves, whether it be at work, whether it be at school, whether it be at home, whether it be you go to particular classes. Sometimes people go to classes because they think they're going to be helping themselves and they injure themselves because they're in a situation where they see everybody doing the same thing and they think, oh, I should do that, and then they hurt themselves, which brings me to what happened to me. So I've been in fitness, dance, movement, body awareness, basically, sometimes unaware, for most of my life. So I started as a dancer as a young child and loved it. And I find it very hard to not move. In fact, sitting here right now, I'm thinking, oh, I'm ready to move already.
I feel you're a bit edgy.
Yes, I'm always moving. But I danced all my life. I did become a teacher at a point where I actually worked with children with disabilities. And even when I did that, I actually worked with them from the perspective of movement and yoga, and then later on Pilates, through my method of teaching children, particularly hearing impaired children, believe it or not, who actually can hear at certain levels. So did do that, but also what I had children and decided to let go of that career for a while, working with children with disabilities, because I had my own children I needed to deal with. And that's when I absolutely went full on into the fitness industry. Now, in the fitness industry, it was pretty insane in the fact that everybody's jumping around, they're doing aerobic, full-on activities like you wouldn't believe. But at the same time, I had also studied yoga nidra, so I understood that calming the body was very important as well. So I'm talking back in the 80s, by the way, that I was teaching aerobics, but I was always doing yoga nidra. A lot of people got up and walked away. They don't anymore. People need this. But what happened to me, I was so intent on being fit all the time. And as Jane's probably talked about, the body image and feeling as though you need to be a certain look and a certain size, that you diet and do all those crazy things, which I did, crazy diets, and probably messed up my metabolism a lot and hormones, which I'm also working on as well. But I began to do hot yoga. So everyone may know a certain name, hot yoga name, which I did go to. And in a hot yoga class, I had one of the teachers who recognised that I was very flexible, tried to make me push further than what I was needed to go. At that time, I tore my labrum, which is the part of the body that actually keeps the cartilage and bone of the hip. And I stupidly ignored it. I was in horrific pain, but I stayed in that class because everybody, particularly the people who were moved up the front, in front of mirrors, which now I just cannot stand this whole idea of it, I was one of them. So I couldn't stop. And I know I'm just raving.
No, you are not raving. I just wanted to jump in and say the great paradox is the competitiveness
of yoga.
Of this thing, yes.
This is yoga, and this was 1998. Before now, which is almost 2018, very soon. So 20 years ago, it was competitive then. I think it's even worse now.
Yeah.
Much worse. I mean, I live in Manly. This is beautiful Bondi, and I am sure we've got the people called the Bondi hipsters who really talk about this type of thing. It's a look almost now that you need to have a certain body, a certain amount of tattoos, and there's a look. And this is where people actually are injuring themselves. I ended up, by the way, having a hip replacement, but I left it for quite some time. I continued teaching and
But what was
didn't look after
happening?
myself.
You've torn your labyrinth. What did you do? Did you strap yourself up?
Oh, no. I was in pain, but it's a weird thing. Anybody who's been in the fitness industry or dance background tend to live with pain.
Okay.
So it's one of those. In fact, I have known people who, when they're not in pain, they think something's wrong. So I mean, that's the conundrum.
They're not working hard enough.
They're not working hard enough. And there used to be no pain, no gain, which did sort of drop out of favouritism. It's back again. People do consider that you need a certain amount of pain to know that you've actually worked your body. So I lived with that, and I continued teaching. I did a yoga diploma during that time. My yoga teacher actually said to me to look after myself a little bit more. I did have a wonderful yoga teacher who is a yoga therapist, and she gave me a lot of meditation to do. And I think I did work very well on healing to a point. But because I continued to teach almost daily, I still do, I teach 6 days a week, it got worse. And so finally I had to have a hip replacement. Pretty amazing thing to do. But I must say, 7 years later I had another hip replacement on the other hip because I had now that's probably how I got away with it, I used my left hip more than my right. It was my right labrum that tore. So I compensated. But the left hip eventually did give out as well. But as it turned out, I found out that I was possibly born with hip dysplasia, which I already had a propensity for this to happen. But because my choice was to dance all my life, basically, and move, that's what happens. So there we go. That's my little story.
So talk about the healing of the hip replacement, the first one and the second one. As I understand it, you've used movement.
To heal.
To heal.
I did. A lot of people, you have to do physiotherapy. I went gung-ho into the physiotherapy, and my physiotherapists at the time, both were really impressed. Both doctors were really, I had two different doctors, by the way, for one hip and the other, were really impressed by the fact that I healed so well. But it wasn't just the movement. I also am very aware of homeopathics and naturopathics, and I actually studied remedial massage shiatsu and beginner diploma, which I never ever finished, in naturopathic. So I also am aware of what I put into my body. So the healing process is not just the physical side, it's also, again, it's not physical, it's mental, plus it's what you put inside yourself to help you with the healing as well. So I use 3 modalities basically. It was mental, physical, and ingestion of food. So I think it's a holistic approach to healing, basically. That's what it is.
And talk a little bit now about the work that you're doing with teenage girls,
right,
or teenagers in
well,
general?
I said specifically girls because I work a lot in schools. Having been a teacher for children with disabilities, and those disabilities covered a huge range, I have a compassion for kids. I love working with children, and I do teach in schools. So I teach my fusion of yoga Pilates in schools. And out of this has come, we're now 2017, and the cases of depression and suicide have increased so much in Australia, which is quite incredible, with young people. And it used to be only males. It seems to have changed. The statistics are swinging, and there's a lot of females that are feeling bullied, body image, back to all of those things. So I was asked by, this is local, this is the from Manly where I do this. It's the local community centre, or the now called Northern Beaches community. to run a class for teenage girls. Well, I said specifically girls because I do find that in a mixed class, regardless, there is bullying occurs.
Oh, I was going to say different agendas might be played out. And girls are having a chance here to just focus, hopefully, on themselves. In a healthy way.
Yes, exactly. I started teaching this only a few weeks ago. This one I'm talking about right now was only a few weeks ago. And what really surprised me, 12 and 13-year-olds were there. And
good age to start learning about this way of moving.
Yes.
And the difference it can make, mental health-wise, certainly, but physical health-wise, because that's often the time when kids will stop exercising because their body changes and they, they might. I remember this myself, thinking, oh God, I'll just lose a stone before I want to get in those shorts to go back on the basketball court.
It's exactly the same. It's exactly the same.
I don't doubt it. I don't doubt it at all.
And the girls who turn up...
So the age, you're coming
12,
in, Jill. Yay.
At 12.
Go for it.
But what surprises me, because I teach in a local high school as well, and a few other high schools, but the local one, is the amount of girls who turn up, and it'll be a beautiful day, wearing layers and layers of clothing. And that is my first indication.
That's a red flag.
Absolute red flag that the body image is being... they're suppressing who they are. They're hiding who they are, and they won't take them off. They won't take the jackets off. So you have to be really careful with them because also they overheat, and they can actually get sick with that as well. Because in a class, so I actually ask them if they like to just slow down a little bit, rather than say, "Will you take your jacket off?" Because they don't want to take their jacket off. But yeah, so this particular one I'm doing is a fairly new class. It's been innovated by the youth worker in Manly, and today there's actually a story in our local newspaper. I know I'm in Bondi, but Manly,
yes. Oh,
which is like we're the two iconic suburbs of Sydney, basically.
Well, this is actually an international audience you're talking to, Jill. So we must
yes.
mention before we finish. I don't want to cut in on what you're saying now about your event in Greece. Early next year.
Well,
we won't talk about it yet.
Yes.
We won't talk about it yet because you're in the middle of something important here, which is the work with the girls, the covering up, the hiding, and this whole trying to get them back into their body, as opposed to being lost in a feedback loop that keeps telling them not enough, not good enough, not skinny enough, not pretty enough,
terrible.
not blonde enough, not all the enoughs.
Not the same as everybody else thing. It's like
not the same as everybody else.
It's just shocking because I know from my own experience as a young girl that I felt like that too. And so, and I would say a lot of women this day still feel this way, and it's time to empowerment. It's time to actually move forward, and that's I know for myself. I was going to add something here about the girls though, and what is happening. My way of teaching, by the way, is a little bit different. So perhaps I should mention that. Because back to yoga, as much as I love it, and I have taught yoga for many years, and I started as a 17-year-old actually doing yoga nidra with Satyananda. But what I find very often, because of our Western society and of ego, that many people who go to yoga, they'll say to me, but I couldn't do that pose, but I stayed in that pose because everyone else was. And that, to me, is a little bit of an issue. This is where injuries are occurring. Now, I teach a fusion of yoga Pilates, but what I also do is I bring dance, I bring movement.
You bring joy.
Well, that's what I want. I want to bring joy. I talk about lifting hearts and heart rates.
Nice.
Okay, so a little bit of movement, a little bit of movement. And I've seen these girls who come to this class like this. They seriously come in, their heads are down, they're covered up. And I put on some music. I asked them last week, actually, what do you like? And so I've heard a few different things, and luckily I'm on Spotify, should I mention? But yes, I can actually find the music. And just start moving. And the moment, it is incredible. Just doing that movement. I know I'm do yoga and Pilates, and I actually work through breath as well. But you bring in a little bit of like this sort of thing happening, and it changes. It's smiling. The people
Yes.
are smiling and they're loving it, and then bring them back down. And I always, I still do. Have done this for 30 odd years. Come back to Yoga Nidra and take it down. Talk about intention, very much intention, mindfulness, and bring people to a state of peace. So I suppose what I'm doing, I'm doing body awareness. I'm moving through the body, up a little bit tempo, bring it back down again, and voila, my husband's French, he'll love that bit. Yeah.
And leaving people with a cellular memory of how that is what their body is most comfortable doing, and that they can, it's in this kind of world that we live in, that you can tap into that at any time you need to. We forget though, man, between one class and the next, easy to forget, but the more you get to remember,
you're totally right.
the more empowered you are to really traverse the day.
Totally changes the way you feel and the way you think. Doing that relaxation, Yoga Nidra, I was actually told by some of the girls last week, they think of my voice.
Oh, this is it. Well, this is it.
I'm about to do an app on this actually. My
good.
friend has a recording studio. Yeah, I'm starting doing that next week.
Okay.
But yes, so it's a wonderful thing, and this brings me joy, of course, too. To see the way people respond, and to maybe change their day, and maybe take away the fact that they woke up in the morning not feeling comfortable with themselves. So I'm very, very much into this.
Yes. And can we talk about your book, Jill?
Oh, my book, Jane. Jane's my mentor.
Yes, but look, before we get there, people can in fact already get a book that you've written on Amazon, which is really showing some of these movements and explaining some of these movements, isn't it, Jill? So don't downplay that.
No, okay, here
that
we go
is going to be a big part of your new book. But just if people are thinking, oh, yeah, this woman resonates with me, because there will be some people watching and hearing this who go, yeah, she gets me.
Right. Okay. So
and they're the people that keep coming back week after week after week, in spite of every other shiny object out there, being the young ritzy titsy, whatever. I'm lost for words in a way, because it makes me sad that people might miss out on the person that really resonates with them, because it's hard to be heard in this landscape.
Oh, goodness me. I'm absolutely, when I think about it, I used to be quite a diva in this industry because there wasn't anybody else. But now there's so many people out there that are teaching all sorts of things. So I do have people
value experience.
I do have people who...
And you've been hurt, and you've healed, and all of these things. But this is where the book comes in too, because of course we're going to build your profile up, so that you are heard, that your passion is to help as many people as possible.
Oh, definitely.
And what is not in the book that's available now is that whole healing journey.
Oh,
and is the Jill that people connect with. That's the part. That's the part. People you're really opening yourself up here.
Well,
and
maybe,
this is what
maybe
can be
too
difficult.
much. This is something we need to discuss, I suppose.
Not too much at all, Jill. So why don't we go back to where it started, and the you're telling me stories of a Sydney that I never knew. I only moved to Sydney when I was in my early 20s, but you're telling me stories of a Sydney that I didn't know, where a kid has gone to school and is at 8, I think, you were hopping on a train and coming into the city and going off to dance
these are outrageous stories.
Let's share a few of them.
Really? Okay.
I love your stories. This is our stories that connect us.
Jane keeps telling me, yes, we're actually quite connected, I think, because as we were mentioning before, we met sort of by accident at a networking event, and we ended up going to India together and being at a conference, a women's forum,
Women's Economic Forum
this year. Even had a room together, and in an amazing hotel where we had special drinks and food prepared for us at night.
We did. We played that system really well, didn't we, Jill?
It's really good.
The point is, people come into your life, the right people at the right time.
Exactly.
And it was I'd been invited to speak at the forum.
Yes.
I saw a gap
Yes.
in their program.
Yes.
And that was where
you invited me.
You came into my life.
That's right.
And I think, hello, thank you, universe,
Yeah,
because the forum needs
that's right.
this kind of approach.
That's right. Well,
And then I needed a little bit of help at the time because I was about as flat broke as a person could be without me even asking. This generous woman put my flight and my accommodation on her credit card. So I think we're bonded for life.
Seriously, didn't. I mean, I know I didn't know Jane very well, but this woman's gorgeous, wonderful, and I intuitively connected.
Well,
and this is it.
And here we are today.
Yeah.
But the book, I guess, you were facilitating my being able to actually go to that goddamn conference and speak. Yes. And that for me was an amazing opportunity. Meanwhile, then I'm able to facilitate you.
Thank you.
Stepping fully into your story and sharing that back out, because when I say it's our stories that connect us, it's our stories that connect us.
Yes.
It's not just this, it's
the world.
It's the whole that.
It is.
And the fact of you yet to actually fully feel what stepping into your story will feel like.
Well, this is where you're helping me, Jane.
Yeah.
I am doing the book.
Because we talk about the halo effect of being a published author.
Yes.
And that's how I was found for the Women's Economic Forum.
Yes.
That's how I got to speak on a stage, not in front of the full 2,000 strong delegate there, but a hell of a lot of people.
Yeah.
But, and I will say to you as well that yes, it has to do with the halo effect of being a published author, but it also has to do with the person you become and the person that I became.
Yes.
When I owned it and owned it all,
it's
all
really
my stories.
It's really exciting because as I'm writing, I can feel that. So
I know
exactly
you
what
can.
you're saying.
I can see it.
So I'm writing, but I keep writing and writing and writing. And as Jane was saying, I actually have written about being the 8-year-old. I've actually, it is in there, but I've talked about a certain amount of abuse that occurred being a little girl travelling on a train. That I never talked about with my parents, which I find really strange. But a friend and I, who was also a dancer and became quite a well-known dancer, used to catch the train into Town Hall Station, and I used to walk through Hyde Park as an 8-year-old. I can't believe that now. I would never have let my children do that, and often be assaulted. Isn't that shocking? And it was like we got to the point where we just laugh at these men, and luckily never ever was hurt or injured or anything like that. But I've told lots of stories. I've actually told stories about Catholic religion as well, which has been such a strong influence in many bad ways. So I do talk about that. But my book is called Open the Gate.
Yes, and let's
you
talk
want to know
about
why I called it Open the Gate.
It's a great title in the scheme of things.
Okay, Open the Gate. In 2013 actually, I was training as a master trainer in the Chi Ball method in Adelaide, and the Chi Ball is a little energy ball of aromatherapy basically, and I was staying in a house with 5 other women who I didn't know, and we decided that the Chi Ball looked like a fortune teller's ball. So we decided to do the weirdest thing, which I hadn't done since I was in high school, a seance. Anyway, we did this seance, whether you believe it or not, but I mean, to this day, what happened is quite unbelievable. We were doing this particular thing. I had a woman sitting beside me. We were using the glass by that point, not the ball. And the glass was sliding around and it was answering questions, as it tends to. If anyone's ever done this, it's such a weird thing to do, a Ouija board sort of thing. But we were doing it. And next thing, a woman beside me grabbed my arm and she started... it was my right arm, and she started doing this movement with my arm and then started yelling out, "Open the gate, open the gate, open the gate." Did not know this woman at all. And she grabbed me really tight and she said, Jill, this is about you. This is about you. It's your mother, your mother, your mother. And I was going, oh my God, my mother. Oh my God, my mother. And she said, "Open the gate." I'm actually getting really emotional. It was very, very powerful.
It's really powerful stuff, isn't it?
She said, "Your mother has to get the horse through the gate." Now, that is incredible. I hadn't even thought of this story. My mother told me when she was a little girl that her father, they were very wealthy, lived on a huge property and they had horses. and he was quite a well-known architect brought out to do the Carl Expressway from America. Anyway, but he was German. Anyway, he was a very strong man, and they had horses, and he told her she is not to go riding in the dark, and if she is caught riding in the dark, and if she's not through the gate by the time it's dark, she loses her horse. Now, she told me this story as a child, and she told it to me very powerfully, and she said she was screaming, the gate, I'm not going to get to the gate, open the gate, open the gate. She wanted the gate to open, and it never did. She lost her horse. And from that day, and she was only a little girl, that was the most powerful thing, and she told me she hated her father because of this. Anyway, so this powerful thing came through of open the gate, and I realised that I'm now the person who is going to be the person who is going to be empowered enough to get past this and open the gate. And opening the gate is floodgates, basically, to lots and lots of things.
Isn't it, Jill?
Oh my God, this is really...
Yeah. Look, this is it, though, isn't it? And in the first episode of Your Creative Journey, I had one of my other authors here, Leanne.
Oh, yes.
And this is, I mention this because if anybody wants to go back through Bondi Radio's Facebook feed, or my name's Jane Turner, if you want to go through my Facebook feed and go back to episode 1 where I'm talking to Leanne Rogers. But I'll retell this again because it's all about the stuff that we hold down and the stuff that we repress.
Yes.
Actually running our lives until we get across it. And I spoke about imagining that everything you needed to repress, or that you felt you needed to repress. I'm just disassembling the studio whilst we go here. There we go. Everything that you feel like you can't feel, too hard to feel, everything that you feel like you don't want to own, like the Angry Jill. I've never seen the Angry Jill, and I bet a lot of people haven't. I know some people will have, but look, people haven't seen the Angry Jane, for example. Not many.
Yeah, it takes me a while.
She's allowed to come out more now because anger is a valid emotion.
I have it in the car very often.
Yeah, well, okay. But anyway, look, point of this story is anything that we try to repress, if you imagine it as being like a beach ball, and if you think of how many things you have and do repress, you're going to have way too many beach balls to be able to hold them down. And every so often they'll pop up. And the best thing in the world is that they pop up and you get to re-feel that emotion. It's just that they often pop up at the worst possible time. And you're feeling a little vulnerable now, but I'm going, go Jill, because that's another piece of healing you just got without realising it.
I know, Jane, you're going to help me with this, because I know I've written so many things, and as I said to Jane, who's going to read this?
Oh, this is common, yes.
And how do I put it all together? Because it's just so many different things coming out, but bringing it back into movement.
Yes. And there's no question that book you have already written won't fill a big role in this book. You don't have to redo that material. I'm a great one on the repurposing wherever possible, because we're busy people. You're going to be able to then just weave that through the whole story. But the difference here is that people get to see you, get to see the credibility that you bring to the table in relation to this whole yoga, Pilates, healing everything from depression to being stuck.
Yes.
You know, as an unsticking strategy in relation to our creativity. Yes. Certainly writer's block, for example.
Oh, yes.
Get up and move.
Oh,
just shift
well, actually, that's what I tell everybody.
You know, I've got to do this with my head.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. I'm sitting here and I find it, I need to move. Actually, I run corporate gigs as well, where I get work people to actually. I've got a program. In fact, that was the one I won an award as well and I spoke in India as well, in Delhi. But it's keeping your working body and mind fit.
Yes.
So
tell us more about that. Tell us more, Jill. And the practicalities, because it's easy to assume that everybody knows this stuff.
They don't.
So I really go into a little bit of detail here.
Corporate 2 weeks ago, and I had probably in the first group I had maybe 20 people, second group maybe 15. basically most of them couldn't move because they're in their head all day, and they all talked about neck issues, back issues, shoulder issues, wrist issues. There was endless issues, and the companies asked me to come back in. I've actually just got to write the specific program, which I've another thing I need to do this week, but it's to work with them. Now this is just one I'm talking about, but then I get people who come to classes, and you can see straight away the day class is not so bad. Evening classes, you've got the rounded shoulders,
by the
the
end
neck
of the
doing
day,
this.
yeah.
Oh, and believe it or not, there is now, I've been told, an operation that is being given or done or performed, I should say, for people to cut this muscle
and
open
for
back
the people listening, Jill, which muscle is
I
that one? It's the one just under the arm here.
There's a nerve. Apparently,
it?
it's nerve
It's a
damage
nerve.
is occurring.
Okay.
So I don't know what the surgery is. I don't know if they actually cut the muscle or they release the nerve or what it is.
So it's to
But
release the
to
shoulders
release because
there, isn't
everybody.
it? So-
But we're not just talking. No, we're not. We're going beyond this. It's school kids as well.
Oh, that's the phones.
The phone,
Yes.
the hands, the fingers, the thumbs,
yes.
and this position. And you look at kids, like I see them walking up the street to come to my class, because this is on Wednesday. So on Wednesday morning, afternoon, they're walking up the street. I see them going along to reach this class. I could guarantee 30 kids, 25 of them are on their phone. They've got their heads down and they're walking, but they're in a bunch, so they don't care if they bump into each other because they're all sort of know each other. So there's like all this thing, and I can hear the teacher saying, "Put your phones away. We're going to cross the road." You know, it's really getting bad.
No, you see people
So-
certainly crossing the road, still reading whatever the hell
and
it
this
is
is
on
what's
the phone.
happening, and they need to open up. People are not closing, and not only
And
are they
that shoulder
closing,
down thing too
Yeah.
is that it's a heart closing as well.
Yes.
Everything is connected.
but what also happens is the internal organs are being affected.
Yeah,
because
everything's
you're getting
being crushed.
Yeah,
in a
everything's
way,
being
isn't it?
crushed. Lumbar spine. I mean, this is what I get to all my classes. People say, you write down. I get them to write down what I'd say 9 out of 10 say bad back.
Back.
But it's the lack of core strength. So if you actually work your core, we can do this. We can lift our pelvic floor, if you know your pelvic floor, which is the base of your core. And just doing that, if I talk about
I can
sitting
do
up,
it right now.
you're going to get
Yeah,
taller
yeah.
right now.
Yep.
I'm going to, straight away I say, lift pelvic floor. Imagine you have a
It
belt.
does change everything. I just
Take a breath in and just do a little contraction of the abdominals. Think of your navel reaching back towards your spine, just something like that.
Yeah.
Straight away, you're
Yeah.
going to sit taller because you can't sit like that and do it.
But you see, this works for
So,
radio too,
yes,
because
yes.
people can be doing this
Yeah.
at home and just
Yes.
to notice the change.
Oh, it's incredible. It's incredible, just that
Yes.
change, but also take a breath. So inhaling through your nose. For this one, you'd exhale through your mouth and just do that slight contraction. So as you do an inhale, as you exhale, just contract your abdominals a little bit, and you'll find that you are going to be sitting up.
Here got any public toilets?
Oh, yes. Now, look, this is the beauty
is
of live radio. If you go out again and turn down this way, you'll find, just helping someone find the loo.
We're right
It's
on Bondi
important.
Beach, believe
That's
it or not.
it.
It's
It's
seriously
real.
on
This is
Bondi
live.
Beach. This is
But,
live radio.
Yeah, it's wonderful.
I
Lovely
wasn't
someone
it?
visiting
I know, how
Sydney.
lovely.
What a great
Someone
day
that
for
was a
them.
tourist,
Yes.
I think.
Yeah, maybe.
I just wanted to say the other thing I'm doing, if you don't mind, I just add this.
Yeah,
and I
please,
actually
Jill,
have my
anything.
first one this week. Now, I have put in a proposal to Teacher Training Australia for me to teach the teachers how to do
Yes.
this
Wow.
and to work with their children. So I have a course that starts this Thursday called Movement and Meditation for Teachers and Student Health and Wellbeing. And I'm running it this Thursday.
Fantastic.
It's already it's enrolled, so it's an enrolled course. But if anyone's a teacher out there and they would like to do this Thursday, there are still places available.
And do you have to be a teacher?
This is Education Department, so it's for the
Okay.
teachers who need to get a certain amount of points. It helps them with their level of their status, basically.
Got it.
So I've actually got to give out certificates so that they get their points and all that sort of thing. But yes, I do that this Thursday
Wow.
to teach the teachers how to work with their children doing this.
That's the ripple
So,
effect,
yeah,
though, Jill,
yeah.
isn't it? You know this stuff, then how many 10, 15 more people go out
Yeah.
into the education
Well, if
arena
they know how
where
to
it's
do
needed
this.
for the young kids, then they know how
Yeah.
to do it.
Yeah.
They can then help others.
So they can do it. What I'm going to suggest to them is this is not for them to run an entire class, as in let's do an hour class. It's for them to know during the day, this is how I'm going to how I'm working it. For them to know during the day when their kids may need to have a bit of a break.
Excellent.
And just do a little bit of movement and a little bit of meditation and a bit of mindfulness. So that's what I'm teaching.
Perfect.
So, it's really exciting actually.
It is,
doing that.
Jill. I mean, that can represent a really big change. Really big change.
And I think,
in the world.
I don't know anyone else actually doing this right now, but there possibly is through Education Department. So,
wonderful.
Yeah.
That is wonderful.
I know, I'm very excited. It's my first one. I'm probably going to be nervous. I don't know the people who are going to be there. I'm in a place that I've never been before. So it's being run at a yoga place in Artarmon, actually.
Excellent.
But,
Excellent.
yeah, so there we go. That's I feel almost embarrassed talking about me.
No, this is all about, well, this is it's actually the part of you that other people will be able to see in themselves as well.
Yeah.
It's that you're a person who has dealt with the same challenges in life, the same kinds of challenges in life. Sure, everybody's story is different, but fundamentally, we're not that very different. We might be at different stages in our journey.
We're women. Now, that's the other side of things, is the divine feminine, which I've been talking about for years, is rising. I don't think it's just women. I think there are many, my husband's a divine feminine. If he's looking at this, he'll be going, yes, sure, Jill. He won't, he'll be saying it in French. Is the fact that we've reached an age, us as women, where we have actually, I think, been involved in bringing this rising of the divine feminine for peace in the world. And I'm going way off track now.
No, you're not. Absolutely not.
But I believe this is what we're doing. And women are connecting so much these days. And there are very many men, of course, that are too, beautiful men that are doing exactly the same. But I think we're reaching an age now where the awareness of what we need to do to help ourselves and to help the world is now. And I think we're just moving into the most amazing time. I don't know if you know that 218 stands for 11, and 11 is a very high, powerful number.
Okay.
But in numerology.
Well, look, what's interesting, and this might seem like I'm going a bit off track, but something that's happening at the moment is that in Australia, we've just had a, what would you call it? It wasn't a vote, but,
amazing
there was
equality.
a male, and I mean male as in you posted, old-fashioned thing you put in the letterbox, where we had to tick whether we were in favour of or not in favour of equality of rights to be seen to be married in this country. It's illegal, this is illegal, it's a socio-political, it's a really a red hot topic. And I just want to have a little update. Thank God, because you never know. Thank God the majority of Australians were, of course,
75%. This is what happened in our electorate area where I am in Manly, where Tony Abbott, who was very against it, in his electorate, 75% of the people voted yes.
But wasn't it so interesting that Sydney, which is probably, it's known for the gay Mardi Gras, but the different villages in Sydney, it was also the lowest yes vote was clocked in a part of Sydney, and of course then the highest yes vote was as well. Now, as I was walking up to my train this morning to come on into to Bondi for the show, I was reminded about how much pushback there is, how threatened people are by change, essentially.
Oh, absolutely.
So I walked past a wonderful piece of graffiti. Well, it's not graffiti, it's street art. Sorry, I take that back. Wonderful piece of street art, which is huge. It's a double-storey terrace where somebody's painted George Michael as a saint.
I heard about this.
Well, but not to be feeling, because I immediately felt wounded myself. I was vicariously pissed off for the artist, for the community, and then this morning I walked back. So I should say what happened. So somebody comes along with their ladder and their big roller and their tub of black paint.
It's on YouTube.
And all but blacks it out.
Disgraceful.
And the head is still there, so the kind of the message, the message of George the Saint is still there. It was funny. He's kind of like, well, what is now blacked out is him, with the reefer between his fingers, and just being, who he was.
So this person,
but
who
so
did
they've
this,
come along. They've blacked it all out, but obviously either the ladder wasn't high enough, or they got enough feedback from all the people walking with it. It stopped and were saying, "Stop this, stop this." They rang the police.
Yeah,
he was
the police
carted off and charged. And I was thinking, well, I don't, what can I do here? Do I get a crowdfunding campaign up for compensating the guy who did it? So not did the blacking it out, but did George Michael come back and do it, and we actually pay him as an artist, and his materials certainly cover.
That would
and
be
I'm
a
thinking,
statement. I think
well,
that's
there's a
excellent.
better statement still though, and it's about how we don't have to undo. We can acknowledge that people are challenged by a change like this. And then someone's come along with light blue paint. I mean, a lot of people came with their white textures and what have you, and reinforced the whole message.
So he's actually reinforced the message.
What he has is reinforced. So there's all the white paint now, which says love is love, and equality, and that hate never wins, and things like that. And then somebody's made a nice area at the bottom with light blue paint. Light blue, colour of peace, light blue paint, and then all these beautiful and affirmative messages have now come. And so the whole thing, it's sort of an iterative process. Creativity is an iterative process. Well, what he facilitated a massive outpouring of love.
He did, didn't he?
I love it.
Amazing.
Don't you love it?
I
The
think
way
it's
that
incredible.
the world works. But what you're saying about 2018 and a year of great change, great
it's a very
healing,
powerful number too.
if you like, is it's upon us, and there are a lot of people who are going to have the back. Kind of went like that when you got emotional, like I got your back, Jill. We're going to have the back of change, because change it's a healthy thing, and there will be pushback, and the way we react, what we own, what we're responsible for is the way we react, isn't it?
Oh, look, I think this is amazing. Absolutely amazing it is. My daughter was bullied over that, by the way, because she had the yes colour, and she also had the something on Instagram, and she was bullied. And that was really quite scary to think that somebody had found her and decided that, this was evil to actually want to vote yes. But this is what did happen, but the yes is actually won. But what's a little bit surprising is the amount of people that I came across who voted no. I was very surprised by some people who were quite happily no, and scared of things, very scared of things. So we're now going to have to work through this, because I don't think anything's going to change. I mean, it's changed in the level that they can marry, but it's not. What people didn't seem to understand is it's not going to mean there'll be less gay people. There's going to be more gay people, or that they're going to marry their dogs. I mean, that was sort of the one that kept coming up. This crazy thing. But Northern Territory has now, was the only state that did not allow gay couples to adopt children. Now they do. This has come out just now, today. So that's very exciting. So Australia has apparently had that for quite some time, that gay couples can adopt children, but now they can marry, which is just fantastic. It's just wonderful. So we live in a very exciting time here.
We do. If I'm to join some dots here, and hopefully I'm not drawing too crazy a bow on this, but it brings us kind of full circle in a sense from the way that you creatively, you've done a couple of really powerful creative things in terms of healing, and we've called this program the art of creative healing, or the art of healing creatively. That was the way. I always stumble over the names of my programs and my people's books, but anyway, Jill, you creatively actually made a program, and you will have to correct me here. It's the Yoga Pilates Fusion. You created the bringing together of two
modalities.
Modalities, didn't you? And that was a highly creative thing to do. Highly creative thing to do. I've done this for
a very long time.
Yeah, and that then you creatively healed your own body. Using your own modality.
Yes, definitely. Do you want me to explain it?
Just before you do, and to kind of join the dots as well, that the person with the pushback on the George Michael streeter, he created some territory now where people can congregate with their ideas, and with their pain, put it on the wall,
Yes,
and
yeah.
it's just,
Yeah,
it's,
no, I love
to
that.
me, it's very, very interesting.
It's very healing talking about that. My sister's an
Healing
artist.
that community as well.
And my name is Healy.
Ah,
Heal.
how about that?
My name has Healy-Quintard, but yes,
Lovely.
we always talk about healing, that we heal. And I believe my sister does too, but she uses art.
Yes.
So talking about that,
Yes.
my sister is an artist, Kerry Ann Healy, and she uses art as a way of communication as well, and has done a lot of amazing stuff. A lot of things are political that she actually paints. But yes, so she uses that, and I believe when you're saying about the George Michael one, yes, it's in Surrey Hills, was it?
No, Erskineville.
Erskineville.
Yep.
Okay, so near you. Okay, so in Erskineville, I just think that's an incredible, and I'm hoping that other people maybe find that they can release some tension through doing this, not in a negative way, in a really positive way, and that people are allowed to do this.
Sure.
That we're hoping that the police don't stop them from doing this on the wall.
No,
So it
I
is
think
an
the
artist's
police.
place?
Yeah. You'll. It's very interesting. We have very, very interesting firemen and police in terms of their being a big part of the community.
Oh, nice.
It's not a them
Okay.
against us. And I
Okay.
do remember, if I may remember, and this is going a bit off track, frankly, but I'm going to anyway, because I don't know why, I just got a bit excited because I was remembering 2014, which was a big year for me. It was the year when I was made redundant, but it was also the year when the Rabbitohs won the grand final. Now, we drove through Redfern. We had gone to see it on a big screen,
Yes.
and we drove through Redfern, and that was maybe the best experience I'd ever had in my life, because we had the windows down and people were just kind of high-fiving as I
they
was
were
driving,
happy.
and you had to
So they
drive
weren't
so
angry
slowly.
people, they were all
no
happy?
way were
Oh,
there
okay,
angry
okay,
people in Redfern
Yeah.
when the Rabbitohs ran the grand final.
Yeah.
Anyway, the police were there also, and they were not so much there to, catch the bad guys or whatever. They were there to celebrate as well, and they all had Rabbitohs hats on.
Oh, isn't that exciting?
They all
Yeah.
had. So that thing about community
Yes.
is that it was clear that someone had come from the outside with the black paint, and that was an interesting thing. That's
right.
not to say that
Right.
that people on the inside were all
Oh, so
pro
the person
yes
wasn't
vote.
local?
Oh God, no.
Okay.
I would not imagine,
Oh,
and
that's
I'm not
interesting.
sort of
Yeah.
knowing
Yeah.
who that
Yeah.
person is, although
Yeah.
I know we can read
Yeah.
it in the
Yeah.
newspaper, because
Yeah.
it was a bit of a big deal in the end.
Yeah.
But that certainly, in terms of the ideas came in from the outside, and that brings up a whole other kettle of fish that we can't really go into
Yes,
now, but it's
yes.
the whole inside-outside
Yes.
thing.
Yes.
Who is the other?
I know.
It's about who is the other, and
Yeah.
the
and are we going to be afraid of the other?
Well, that's the way it has been through history, Jill.
Exactly.
But the whole LGTBI community
You got that
has
right.
been so. I know.
Messed that up
I
so
know.
many
I was a
times.
bit brave actually
Yes.
saying it, but I was thinking,
Yes.
well, what was the
Yes.
politically correct way to do it? And
Yes.
I've got it yet, but I
Yes.
would jumble them
Yeah.
9 times out of 10. Anyhow, the point is that community has been so used to being the other.
Oh.
This vote
Yes.
represents
Yes.
actually a political and
Yes.
legal change to
Yes.
that status.
Oh, totally.
So I don't want to
Totally.
demonise the guy with the black paint now
Yes.
as the other, but
Yes.
he was the other. He
Yes.
came in, I guess, kind of brave, kind of foolish, but he did what he felt he needed to do, and then the community got, as I say, that opportunity to heal as a community as well.
I hope this changes things, because all through my growing up, we had families of children who people thought they were gay, and they were gay, and they've grown into gay adults, but they had to hide that. I hope now that people really feel as though they don't need to do this anymore. I know some of the teenagers who are feeling depression. That's one of their reasons as well, of having to not really let people know who they are. But this should change that people don't have this fear anymore. So I'm hoping it does. So so anyway, we live in exciting times here in
Well, we
Sydney
do.
and
Well,
Australia, I
the
should
whole
say, in the whole
world.
Australia, the whole world.
world.
We were in France at the time, in July, when it was announced that 122 million was being spent on getting this vote. Which
Yes.
we were over there, and people were saying, "What's wrong with Australia? What's wrong?"
Yes.
So it's very exciting that we're actually like the rest of the world now.
Might have lurched into the 21st century in this regard.
Yeah, incredible because all those countries, European countries, have had it didn't even cross their mind that gay people couldn't marry. So it's really exciting. Which reminds me, I also have a French husband who I've mentioned many times, and if he's watching this, he'll go, "How come you keep mentioning me?" But I also have taught in France as well, and had to learn another language to teach.
Yes.
So
right.
which was really exciting when I did it years ago. It was very nice, like doing that. And I'm about to mention, possibly, if anyone wants to come to Greece.
Yes, do mention
The
that.
28th of March to the 5th of April, there's an amazing retreat called, I'd have to look it up, Elias, I think it is, that if I can take 5 people with me, they're asking everybody that, but take 5 people, then you'll get some discount, and
Yes.
I'll be running a section of this. I'll be running something there. Today I got an email, in fact this morning I got an email before I left early, from the guy saying he loved what I do, and he loves what I do, and he was sending me the registration, and I've got a code. So I don't know.
So this is the thing.
I should
Where
look
do
it up.
people? No.
Look it up.
Where do people contact you, Jill, so they can get more
Jill.
information?
This is Body and
see, only
Balance.
people can see
Can't
your
see
shirt.
that?
No, only people
Body and
on
Balance.
Facebook can see it. All the radio people are going, what's this? So bodyandbalance.com.
Okay, yes, www.bodyandbalance.com.au is my website. My email is jill@bodyandbalance.com.au. My Facebook is Jill Healy-Quintard. My Facebook, Body and Balance Pilates Yoga.
That's probably enough.
Yeah, there's quite a few
and the
things.
thing is too, if you didn't catch all of that, because not everyone's got their
No,
pen ready, just watch this
it'll be
back on
tagged.
Facebook.
Tagged.
Yep, it'll be
Yeah.
tagged to you also.
Yeah,
But you
yeah.
can watch this Facebook recording anytime you like, and those details will be there.
This is very exciting, isn't
It's
it?
wonderful. It's
Jane's
wonderful,
amazing.
Jill.
I'm impressed.
Thank you, Jill. Thank you, Jill. Well, if anybody wants to know more about me, you can find me at rightwithjane.com. And of course, every Tuesday morning at 9 a.m, join us for your creative journey. Bondi Radio, 9 a.m. Sydney time, I should say, every Tuesday.
Peace.